Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogreboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2022 movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So, this is a movie that was made to cater towards Nicolas Cage fans. It follows actor Nicolas Cage, who is in a slump in his career and having financial troubles when he's offered $1 million to attend a birthday party, and gets involved with the CIA and ends up having to take down these criminals and stuff using his acting skills to survive and save the day. This movie it's just a lot of fun. It's a celebration of Nicolas Cage's career. If you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, you're probably going to like this movie. If you're not, then you're going to hate this movie. But as somebody who loves Nicolas Cage, especially his recent stuff in recent years, I love his 90s movies, and the movies over the last 5 years have been really, really great. And some of his best stuff of his career, and I did like some of his early 2000s stuff too. But he's always been one of those actors that I've always enjoyed watching. I don't know why. There's just something about him he's fun to watch. He's not like, there's times where he can be a really, really great actor, and there's times he's really over the top. There's times where he tries too hard, but he always does give his all, whether the movies are good or not. He always does at least commit to his roles and stuff. So I've always liked Nicolas Cage, and he just totally commits to playing this fictionalized version of himself. He even plays a hallucination version of himself that this fictionalized version has. That in this movie he goes by Nick Cage, and then his hallucination version is Nicky Cage, and he's dressed up like he looks like he's from one of his 80s movies. I think it's one of the ones that I haven't seen, but I'm not for sure. And it may not even be from a movie. May have just been from one of his interviews or something. I'm not for sure, but I've seen the look before on something. I know I have, but and the thing that sucks though is a lot of the references in this movie are to two of his biggest movies that I haven't seen yet, which are Con Air and The Rock. I'm gonna try to figure out a time to find those and watch those movies, because I haven't seen either one of them, and they're like his biggest movies, and as big of a fan of his I am of him, I need to catch up on a few of his most popular movies that I haven't seen yet. But there's also some really fun references to Face Off, and they even talk about The Croods too, and some of his other smaller movies like Mandy, that you see like the chainsaw from Mandy in it, and it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool references to Nicolas Cage's career and his other movies, his financial trouble, his personal life, and everything. Anybody who follows Nicolas Cage knows that he got in big trouble with the IRS because of buying too many houses and things that he didn't really need and stuff, and they make fun of that in the movie too, that it's really meta and everything. And also it co-stars Pedro Pascal, and he is absolutely hilarious in this movie, and the chemistry between him and Nicolas Cage just make this movie work so well. That they work really, really well off of each other, and they're both really hilarious together in this movie. And the story is really well written and fast paced. It has some action in it towards the third act and everything, so that's kind of cool too. It has a lot of fun stuff, and you get Nicolas Cage going into overload drive at times, and it's like the way it's written, it's like he knows he's going over the top, being over the top, and I just love it. If you're, like I said, as someone who's been following Nicolas Cage for a long time, I just really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, I still need to see some of his more popular movies, though. I'm going to make that a goal. I might actually review them as I watch them, too. But yeah, so, but yeah, this is probably one of my most favorite movies of the year. It's probably going to end up in my top 10 favorites of the year, I bet, because I just really loved it. It's a lot of fun. It's really funny too. It has a lot of really good humor and stuff, which is is refreshing. We haven't had a good comedy in a while either, and this one has a lot of good comedy in it too. And like I said, as a big fan of Nicolas Cage, I think this movie is exactly right up my alley. It's been one I've wanted to see since it first came out. I really regret not getting to see it in the theater, but it came out at a really bad time for me to be able to get to go see it. So, and it didn't stay in the theaters very long either. It only lasted a couple weeks because it underperformed at the box office, unfortunately. But I definitely would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage. If you're not a fan, this isn't going to do anything for you, and I wouldn't even recommend bothering. But if you are a fan, I definitely would recommend watching it and everything, because it is a lot of fun. You don't have to be completely familiar with everything about Nicolas Cage to still enjoy the movie either, but knowing stuff about him and his movies and stuff does help too. But yeah, so I think that hopefully he's been on the verge of getting a comeback in recent years, because he's been getting so much better roles in recent years and doing better stuff, and now he's got his stuff with the IRS paid off. This movie was meant to be his comeback, and even though it underperformed at the box office, I hope that doesn't stop him from getting a comeback, because he really deserves it. He's been putting in the work lately, and I really am rooting for him to get the comeback he deserves, because he really is. He's a great actor, but he's also one that's just fun to watch and everything. I'd love to see him join big franchises and stuff like Fast and the Furious and the MCU, and get to be in big stuff like that too, and still do these smaller movies that he's been doing for a long time. I miss blockbuster Nicolas Cage, as well as I love his smaller indie stuff as well. But this movie is great, and I definitely would recommend it. So I'd say I'd give it a 9 out of 10. If you're not like I said, I wouldn't recommend it though if you're not a fan of Nicolas Cage, because you probably won't like it. If you're at least a moderate fan of him, you probably will still enjoy it. But yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of the unbearable weight of massive talent, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.